Greetings and salutations, everyone.
Hello, good sir.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Hi, Matt. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm sorry. Like, everybody's calling me, and my daughter's talking to me. My mom's calling. Let me figure out what's going on with her, make sure everything. But yeah, Missouri's not really big on. We're big on pro, not production. We're big on stage, but like when you're playing on a stage, either doing like jazz standards or we're big on like playing behind some artist. There's not, I mean, there are like little music hubs. Like I was a music director for the Soul Shed, which was started a long time ago. Like I want to say 2014, maybe, by my friend Jamarco
Fantastic. Tell
Britton.
me about it.
Well, I mean, it basically just started as a place for musicians to come and jam because we would always be looking for a place that have a jam session, and it was either somebody had keys to a church, or like we'd be at somebody's house. Like, fun fact, my wife, before we got married, like we were just like really good friends. We would have jam sessions in our house. I have recordings of it too. It's very terrible audio quality because they were on my phone, but like we had really like fun musical moments. Like it's like a two-bedroom, very small apartment, and in the living room space we had two drum sets, a guitar, a piano, a bass player, a bunch of people singing. Like, it was crazy. Let alone like with video games and anime, I'm like, man, people would kill for that here. But like, it's St. Louis, and we're like a very high on the murder capital charts, so people would probably literally kill, which is why we don't have that. But I mean, not to say that it couldn't happen. It's just that there's not a lot of places that invest money into stuff like that, and it's politics and what people deem as valuable. Yeah, B culture is not really a big thing here. We have some, like, we have a fresh produce, and it provided me my first platform to like get out and put my music out in front of people. But we don't really have any like communal um, beat communities here, which is why Sidechain has been so integral for me, for my personal growth and connection with people. So
That fresh produce is something where you did the beat battles, right? So, or at least this is what they call it. Is it actually a beat battle, or is it just a what they call it to get people together to perform, or is it an actual competition?
it is an actual competition. They encourage people getting together and connecting and collabing, but it's like everybody's trying to make it, man. Everybody's trying to either leave their 9 to 5, or everybody's trying to make the full-time music option work for them.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I was trying to do that for a very long time. But I don't know. I feel like lately I've kind of been like shying away from what I create being like what I guess brings monetary return. Um and don't get me wrong, I'll still do like session based work and stuff like that, and like that'll be something that is so I can count as income. But like, I've just been in this place musically where I just want to be free to create just for creation's sake. Um, and I feel more, how do you say, fulfilled when I just create without having an end goal or desired outcome in mind. Like I've just been like the past few projects and beats that I've made have been just for fun, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, some stuff I put out, some stuff I hoard, as you know from our last sidechain session. It's like, man, I got all these beats, I just haven't done anything with. Okay, what is this contraption? So
like in one of your Instagram posts, you were talking about honesty and being honest in music. Is it somehow connected to this transformation of wanting to create as opposed to create for a specific purpose?
Absolutely, it is connected, and I think I had to go down that path to find out if it worked for me or not. Like I tried to, do the whole post a day, like, let's do this. And man, I get it. Social media is the vehicle that we use to get from point A to B, especially to have financial and economic options as a creative and entrepreneur. However, like, I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I can't shake the fact that it's weird to me. Like, there is a level, and like drums will talk about this all the time. Like the little, I guess it's a film over the whole thing. It's just like I'm still talking into a camera at people that are not there. And I'm engaging them in a way, or like I'm typing a message out to the metaverse. And it's just like, hey everybody, here's this big, microphone blast of my thoughts. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm a person that very much values the one-on-one, the, like what we're doing right now, even though I've been talking.
Is this also the reason why you stopped those daily posts?
Yeah, I mean, so to answer the first question, I stopped doing those because just being responsible for all the stuff that I had to be responsible for outside of Matthew Jamison music. Mm-hmm. It was a lot for me to create these posts and like try to follow the I don't want to say algorithm, but like when you post at specific times, it's supposed to, help your visual or help you get in front of people or whatever. And like during those times, like it'll be hard for me to, like, one, I don't want to just make a post just because, like, well, I got to do this, so let me just do this, and boom, here, it's done, it's out there. Like I also care about who is receiving it. So, and I guess like the pressure of like uploading every day, and then like, okay, I'm going to record this and that. And then I was like, man, I was listening back. I'm like, man, a lot of these sound really low. The volume on these are like super low. I don't know how to get this to sound like, let's just say Mono Neon, who does videos or whatever, or like a K-Base or Andrew Goucher. And it's like, their rigs sound amazing. Like, now, mind you, all of these people I've named have like thousands of dollars of equipment behind them. And not to say that's something that is stopping me. It's definitely a barrier, but at the same time, like I could take the time to figure out how to get the sound to come out better on the post and all that stuff. But at the time, I just had a lot of shit going on, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like going through that and like spending the time to do those things. It's just like, look, the point was for me to get job opportunities and offers to, to be a session basis. Like I have to have videos of me playing the bass up. Jones was like, yeah, man, we went to your IG page and you didn't have no videos of you playing bass. He's like, my man's don't have no videos of what he says he does. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, I can work on that. So I got about like maybe 6 or 9 of them up. And I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm done. Like how Drums feels about Lufs is how I feel about making posts on social media.
Are you still into that daily commitment actually?
No, I fell off completely. I fell off on a lot of stuff, bro. Like, yeah. And I don't know, I'm not here to make excuses about stuff, but it's just like there comes a point in time where you have to pivot and you have to prioritize things that are more important in that moment. Like I started working out, like after like finding some kind of balance and stuff. And then like I fell off of that. It's been about, I couldn't go work out in the gym. Like, I had COVID. I was like, well, I can't go down there now. And then like I'm better. And it's just like, well, my wife's positive, so I don't want to go down there and potentially like be a carrier who's, showing no signs or symptoms right now. I don't know, like you get into a groove in life and you feel like, this is the way. This is my, onus or whatever. Like this is my purpose right now. And you can very much like be shifted in a week, and like everything that you were doing or everything that was important at that moment becomes less important because of something else. So like, yeah, man, I'm just learning how to pivot and learning how to show up for the people that need me to show up for them the most, i.e. my wife, my kids, myself, and my mental and physical health. I applied for, there's this like free therapy site for Black males. I applied for that and haven't heard anything back, which I should probably either reach out or apply to another one.
Yeah, which part is it for you that makes you completely abandon something in favor of something next? Or
well,
the important, I don't want to prioritize those things, but I do feel connected in this regard.
Yeah, and like I will say, like I am an individual. Not to say that the way that I'm doing things is the best way or a way that is good. It's just it's the way I'm going right now. Is what I got. I do know that I was diagnosed with ADHD last year, and I take medicine to help me with that. I noticed the difference between when I'm taking my medicine and when I don't take my medicine. And when I don't take my medicine, I feel like I have to do everything now because I will forget, and I don't trust myself at all. So I completely overwork myself, and I do it in such a way in which I don't get anything done. Like I literally just, I'm doing this over here, I'm doing this thing, I'm doing a little bit of this while I'm doing this thing right here that needs to be done. Oh, my wife said something about that, so I need to make sure I'm doing that right now too. Let me pull that up. And then I'll have like 64 tabs open on my computer and in 2 different web browsers. And I'm completely lost.
Very
And like
familiar.
I had went my entire life without being properly diagnosed as a person with ADHD and not really even understanding what that means. I just know that my mom told me that they tried to diagnose me when I was a kid going into kindergarten, and she in a very religious way said, not in Jesus' name, and then took me out of there. And yeah, I just lived my entire life with symptoms. And I believe she has ADHD as well, like full blown. Like, and her, yeah, it shows. It shows.
Buck wild to all of my niggas who don't care. Lost like a bunch of young black millionaires.
Be judgmental about this. Nobody is actually encouraging people to go into therapy and figure it themselves out. How did you manage?
Well, I had a friend. Oh, I still have a friend. But at the time, I was very much like against therapy. Like, and my dad, like, I'm still trying to convince him to go, and he's like, "Oh, boy, I don't need no therapy." I was like, "And Daddy, that's the reason why you need to go to therapy." But my friend is a therapist, and they were just talking about the benefits, because they receive therapy and how it's not such a taboo thing, that our community kind of views it as. Excuse me. Her husband also is in therapy, and me and him are really good friends. And like he was telling me about his experience in therapy and just like the benefits of it. And like I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then, tried it, worked through some really tough stuff, because like it got to the point where I was at the point of almost having a divorce, and I had to work through my shit. I didn't know, like, a lot of the stuff that was going on was my own mental, like, downward spiral, that I was telling myself different scenarios based on things that were happening, but you don't know everything, and your mind is conditioned from the time that you're a child until you have the ability to make full decisions for yourself. So yeah, that's kind of the story of how I got into therapy. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made, though, I will say. Like, it's very helpful, and it has helped me to be more actively self-aware, instead of just sitting and brooding.
And what would you say was the technique that they use in therapy that kind of makes this shifts your own thinking?
Yeah, no, I would say for me there was a lot of questioning, and a lot of times when you are conditioned a certain way, something happens in life and your perspective perceives it to be this way, and it can only be this way because this is the way that it has been, and this is all that you know. Well, as the famous Boondocks line goes, there are known knowns and then there are known unknowns, but there are also unknown unknowns, stuff that you don't know that you don't know. And I was like, man, that was pretty deep for a show that was completely satirical. But yeah, like just asking questions on the things that I would surmise in my mind uh, based on these things, and asking myself those questions, and then that process or that practice helped me to then verbalize those questions to the people that I'm in relationship with. Because you when you're dealing with human, like, you don't know what that human is thinking unless they tell you, and you don't know what how they feel about certain things unless you ask them directly. So, like, hence why I've become such a very upfront and like straight to the point kind of person. My wife would beg to differ. She would say I sometimes I beat around the point, but that's because I like to give all the information. And then like, okay, this is everything that I was thinking, feeling, boom. Now you have your full story and you can make your decisions. But
this is the outcome. Was that the game changer, so to speak, from the therapy? Were
oh
you
yeah,
different before?
oh yeah, I was very much an I assume so it is kind of person. And like sometimes I catch myself speaking about things in a matter of fact way. And this comes from the way I was raised. Like my parents, like I had my mom and my dad, and my mom, she was Google or Alexa before those things were invented. And to my dad, she still is. I'm like, that my dad's like, let me ask Tony if she can if she knows what this. I'm like, Dad, like, you can just ask Google, like, go on your phone, just Google what is this. Like, you don't have to ask my mom. But it just goes to show how much of human behavior is taught and caught.
Was there like a radical shift in your behavior thanks to therapy?
Oh yeah, yeah. I would say there was a radical shift. I would just being very transparent. Like, I was able to be more vulnerable and let my I would say ego and my walls of self-protection down in relation to my spouse. And yeah, like just learning. Like, one of the biggest things that I've learned so far is that not sharing 100% of yourself with a human does not mean that you are not being yourself with that person. Every person isn't made to receive 100% of you. Like, everybody can't handle everything that comes with you. And you can't handle everything that comes with somebody else. So, like, you have to, like, learn and set boundaries, like, with people. Like, I'm not the person that's going to put my family on the back burner for someone else. Like, that's just not. It's like, yo, like, I'm gonna get to you when I can. Like, my family needs me, like, I need me. Like, I need to practice self-care and resting. And you can't give from an empty tank. So
yeah, and I agree with everything you just said. So that's quite cool. So yeah, that's definitely, this also connects to something that you wrote that I found very, very inspiring, with this people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Dr. Angela Warfield, she made the statement, and like it took me a while. I was just like, yo, that makes perfect sense. It's like, I was just speaking from like my own experiences in life up until that point. I was like, yo, people really don't care about you just talking about yourself all the time. Now, this is me, fresh out of high school, in college, trying to talk to girls, and like, this is, at that time, this is how I was applying it. It's just like, I thought this is how you get the girl, you spit the game, you get the girl. Like, this is, 1, 2, 3. But it's just like, listening, like learning how to be a good listener, and not to listen to respond, but to listen to understand. Like, that part didn't come until later on in life, but earlier I was listening to get the draws. Like, that was what I was, the mission that I was on early on when I first heard that statement. But I'd say it's just like, in my experience, to answer your question, if you were making that up, or you were assuming, like, I think it's just innate. Like, humans are made for community. Like, we all need each other, which is why, like, solitary confinement is a punishment. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. So it's like, when you look at it, I don't know who said this. Was it Dow or was it Drums? I don't know. Somebody said this, and it stuck with me. And he said, the only difference between heaven and hell is, in one room you got a room full of people with only one hand and no eyes, and everybody's hungry, and they're trying to feed themselves, but they can't. And then he said, and I'm butchering this, by the way, and he said, in the second room you have a bunch of people that, instead of the previous statement, they are all helping each other and feeding each other. And I was just like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, I never had much. Run with a bad bunch, little skinny kids sneaking weed in my bag lunch. And I'm a big proponent on like the scriptures and stuff. Like, there's just a lot of things that just equate out to truth. Now, there's a lot of speculation and debate on the meaning and understanding of said scriptures, but like, you have to also take into effect and account that the initial audience and the language that was used when writing those texts were not English. So it's a lot more than just, what you're reading on a page. Like, there's over 20 different versions of the Bible, and it's like, like different translations are accurate for word, and there are some that are accurate for the understanding of the word, so there are some that are for readability. It's like, like, there's this book called Journey from Text to Translation that my wife has. I think it's by Paul Wagner. His first name might not be Paul, but it's a very interesting book, and it just talks about like the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Septuagint, and just like how the journey of these texts throughout history have caused so many transitions and changes all over the world, but also have had so many changes and transitions in and of itself in the text that we know to be the Bible and stuff. So yeah, like I'm definitely one of those people that is open to the idea of religion, but I don't subscribe to religion, if that makes sense. I'm definitely a believer in how to put it. I believe in the teachings that Jesus Christ spoke about and the connection between God the Father and humanity. It's like this force that we all talk about, and we use in many different languages and for different reasons. But I feel like our entire life experience is us understanding the meaning of that word, which is love. Like love is one of those completely overused words that is it's disproven by our actions most times than it's actually proven. But I will say that having kids, it has definitely unlocked another layer of what love means. You know, they're so cute when they're small, and you know, they're throwing up and pooping everywhere, and then they get older and it's not so cute, and it's just, they're still pooping and peeing everywhere, and it's like, okay, I'm tired of cleaning your shit. But it's like, you know, it's life, man. Like, and then like being able to talk to my parents is like, that's another layer of understanding. Like, there are things that my children do that really annoy me that my dad specifically will let me know, oh man, you did the exact same thing. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. He's like, you getting it back? I'm like, yeah, I am.
That part specifically is what I cherish so much, because kids change perspective, I think. They let you reflect upon things. They force you to reflect upon things in a very different light. I actually wanted to ask you how you train or how you exercise patience, because we talked about this in the last session as well, and you mentioned that it's kind of like one of the big things that you want to tackle properly.
Oh yeah, I definitely do a lot of praying, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I pray a lot and very much in the moment. And just a healthy bit of ignoring. Like there's like, she's probably said something to me maybe 8 times since the last time I spoke. And I was just like, I can't keep doing this. Like, now she's watching her show and it's like, you're good. Like you're chilling out, you know, you making hot dogs is not worth interrupting my thoughts and conversation and the interview with the limited time that we have. Like you did. Wait, let me let her know. Zoe, you did a great job making hot dogs. I just want you to know that.
I'm not that familiar with anime, but at least those Hayao Miyazaki movies that I love tend to handle this specifically, like accepting the dark side and finding a way to finding the diplomacy to live with it, to work with it, and then everything comes to a calm, peaceful state. Never really like banning that the witch or the monster.
All right. Yeah, I feel like we do ourselves a disservice when we see ourselves as just only like just singular. Western culture teaches you to have yours. Like everything in this world is for me, and I am the only thing here, and everything exists for just my perspective. And it's like, you know, that's a very interesting way of looking at life. Whereas in other cultures, just experiencing the world. I think we were having this conversation in Sidechain, I'm not sure, but there was a culture that they still, you know, they're very much living off of the land, and you know, very small community, and their ideology is kind of flipped. It's like our experience is through the world, and how we interact with the world is kind of like our experience as a part of the world, versus I'm separated from everything. Everything is for me to objectify or conquer. And like, yeah, I see it as like, you know, as humans, like, I don't know, just something as simple as seeing another man get kicked in the balls. That shit hurts me. Like, I'm like, ooh, I can't even, like that. It didn't even hit me and it connected. I'm like, I know how that feels though. You know, it's like, you know, we're all waves in this huge ocean of like interconnected energy. And yeah, man, I don't know, I just feel like we're more connected than we know or give credit to or acknowledge at times.
Actually, do you have any something that you struggle with and use to your advantage?
Well, and that leads me to answer this question then, like, because you asked me earlier, like, therapy had me ask questions of myself, like when you said the restlessness, and like this is a symptom. Mm-hmm. And you found a way to take this symptom and to utilize it for productivity for yourself. And I think that's what I hear you saying. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So like, you know, even though like with therapy, like, you know, the therapist would ask me a bunch of questions, like I've always, I don't want to say always, since then I started to ask questions about like, okay, so this one thing happened, like it's like kind constantly pulling the covers off of things or pulling the masks off of the Scooby-Doo villain, so to speak, until you get to like who it is, and it's the gardener, you know. But like, have you ever asked yourself, what is the cause of the restlessness? Like, is there a feeling of fear, or is there a feeling of worthlessness or value that was not placed? Like, and then like tracing these things back to like childhood events, and then like realizing like, oh shit, this is the moment where this thing happened. Like, and I never thought about it, but I definitely live life this way because of these moments happening at a very pivotal point in my life. And like, that's something that I do all the time. And you saying something about restlessness, which I definitely had insomnia during my teenage to 20s, but it was for multiple reasons. And my reasons were like, I definitely had a sense of I won't say worthlessness. I would say that I'm not as good as others, because that was the constant message that was received growing up, whether that be from the disappointment or disapproval of my dad, whether that be from the rejection from the girls that I would try to talk to in elementary school, rejection from other kids that I wanted to play with. You know, for whatever reason, that was a deep-seated truth that I had told myself. And, you know, it's not true, you know, but that's just like, for example, one of the things that I had to dig through and like ask myself, like, why this? Okay, this could be this. Okay, well, why this? Does it show up in any other areas? Like, not settling for the easy answer, or the answer that's another symptom. Like, it's like there's a root here that's springing up, and it goes way back somewhere.
Absolutely, I'm 100% sure of this. That it's family related. It's definitely parents related. It's definitely the idea of being unaccomplished or like not living up to their expectations. All that stuff is definitely a huge part of this, and it all goes back way into the childhood where it's like, yeah, sure.
Hey man, everybody's got their own journey. Like, that's one thing that I'm learning. Whether you get there at a certain age or you get there later on, like the fact that you're doing the work of that's all that matters, is what are you actively doing for yourself? Like, so
yes, absolutely.
You telling yourself I need to go to therapy, and listening to conversations with people like me talking about therapy, like, you're doing something for yourself by listening. Don't downplay that.
That's right.
No, I was gonna say that it took me about 3 therapists till I got to someone that I can actually do heavy lifting with. Like, the first therapist, like it was through my job at the time at UMSL, University of Missouri, St. Louis, and they had, you know, people that were in school for therapy, that, you know, that was their last thing. They had to have a caseload and work through with their professor. And you know, I talked to him through a lot of things, and really it was just me saying, well, you're about to get all this shit, man. I'm just gonna unpack everything on the table and just say all the stuff that, you know, I don't feel safe saying to anybody. And you know, that was a refreshing experience. But then it got to the point where like there's obvious things that he couldn't relate to me on, and like he didn't know like the background or like culturally like what I was talking about. So it would be like a barrier of having to explain, well, Kojic is Church of God in Christ. This is what I grew up in, and this is what they kind of believe, and this is why I left. And I said, fuck church, fuck God, all that shit. And then I came back later on in life after living and having my own experiences, and you know, being at that point in my journey where I had a crossroads. So but yeah, I just wanted to say that, because even when you start something and stop it, like you, the only way you fall completely off, or like you fail, is if you don't pick it back up again. So just want to encourage you on that too.
Did you fall off music at any point during the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years?
Definitely.
Okay.
Before Sidechain, like it was on and off, like completely. But I'd say the biggest proponent for me getting back up, regardless of whether that's music or, you know, mental health or whatever, I have to acknowledge my spouse. But I would also say like just that relationship is rooted in love, which we're both learning what that means, but also community. Like I have people that care about me outside of, you know, my wife and my parents and my mother-in-law. So like when I think about like me falling off, or, you know, things getting really bad, like I've had people like in my life, like just, hey man, you're not about to fall all the way off the cliff right here. Like, you know, you got to keep going, you got to get up. And you know, just a key point to my life. And like I said, it's not of my doing at all. It's like that plate of food for my family kind of thing. So yeah.
And how did you actually stumble, or how did you find the sidechain?
Man, that was crazy. I remember I found out about Sidechain when I found out about stolen drums. I was watching Producer Grind. They have a YouTube interview, and Drums just so happened to be one of the guys they were interviewing. And, you know, Drums being the coolest man on the face of the earth, like, like he was just being himself, and like that slick backness that he has, it just oozed throughout the whole interview. And it was really just him being honest and like talking about his experience, and like seeing how he was able to pivot from the job that he was working to doing music full time, and like seeing like just where he was with everything. And like I was just amazed. I was like, first of all, like the music sounds dope. And like Drums, like then I found out about his YouTube and started following him on YouTube when he would do the lives and stuff. I caught like maybe a couple of lives, And then I found out about Sidechain. But like when he would be making beats, like drums will always, like, in my opinion, he would be making a beat that you can sit in for hours. And it would just be like just looping. And then like I'm just like, man, I'm sitting there working, typing in stuff, entering information in board. I'm just like, man, this is dope. And then he'll add something else. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, wait a minute, hold up, man. Let me see what I gotta, like I'm just I'd be like ready to create. Like I'm like, man, I hear some stuff like that I wanna hear with this, or like, you know, it's just one of those things where it just invoked creation, like creativity. Um, and found out about Sidechain. I was like, whew, Zozo, no ma'am. Put that chair back down. Talk with wifey. Wifey was like, go for it. So I hopped in and seen Penn and KG3 and JJ1 and like all of these people. Neo was in there, and Crip joint, he was in there. Like, and I just remember like just the first time we all just kind of was talking and stuff, and just getting the feel for who everybody was. And it's like, that was kind of cool. Then the second time, like everybody was playing beats and nobody knew how to play beats using the stereo quality audio, except for like people that already had like a setup, like Penn had his stuff already set up to come through the interface. And I just remember like that moment when I was like, these guys are amazing. Wow. Like, I don't have any beats that sound like this. I was like, Matt, you got something? I'm like, yeah. Let me play. Okay, where are my best beats? Where are my best beats? Okay. I got a couple beats. Whew. And if you know, I got to get them. And I was like, did I do good? Like, was that good? And like everybody was like, really like supportive of, and like they asked like, yo, was that you playing bass on there? And I was like, yeah, that was that was me playing bass. And like before Sidechain, I didn't like realize that I could play. Before Sidechain, I didn't realize that like everybody couldn't do what I did on the bass. Like, because St. Louis is filled with so many like super talented musicians, and like I'm not even a name that pops up when it comes to like bass players, because I mean I'm not gigging, I'm not out there trying to do shows and stuff like that. So I'm sorry, but yeah, like when people were like, man, like you over there killing on bass and stuff like that, like I was like, man, y'all stop being nice, like but like it just took some time for me to realize like everybody has their own thing that that they do, and that is intrinsic to who they are. And Sidechain has been like life-changing experience for me, as far as like confidence, as far as like finding my own sound, as far as like having a sound library. Shout out Slappy Drums. Shout out all the different drum kits that were birthed out of Sidechain. So,
The whole game. A month ago or something, I looked at the size of the library, and it's in high gigabytes. It must be something like 20 gigabytes now.
yeah, I'm just like Splice sounds like I'm trying to get some EDM stuff and try to mess with a new genre or something. Like that's pretty much the next move. Like that's the only thing I haven't done really.
Is venturing into EDM? EDM
Just,
specifically,
yeah.
or is it just
specifically.
like, let's make it the first station and then
yeah, I mean, I could try it. Like it's just one of those things I look at it as like, man, that is so far from what I'm used to doing that I wouldn't know where to start. So that was the first thing that came to mind.
What would be the opposite of that in terms of like the comfortable space in music? Where do you fall back to?
Like R&B and soul, like.
And you do all of this in FL, right? You're the FL guy. Did you stumble into FL, or were you choosing between DAWs and then?
So initially, I had a MPC studio,
okay,
and that was what I started making beats on at first, and I loved it. Like I learned how to, hit the pads, and like it was, I don't know, it felt more for me because I was like, I'm coming from playing actual instruments to like producing, and I was just like, I don't like the point and clicking. It just feels like I can't, in my mind, take what I'm hearing and translate it. So like having the pads, like I was able to, like at least get the idea out. I have a crawling child over here. This is my life. She put ice cubes in my sandals.
Right. So yeah, FL.
That's what we were talking about, right? Yeah, I ended up getting a cracked version of FL from my friend, and Miracles.
The Miracles, haven't I?
Do it, baby. Definitely during that doo-wop male singer era. My wife got me this for my birthday.
Okay.
Got Blue World by Coltrane.
Nice. Here, Daddy. You sample those? Like, is it something?
I don't even have a record. I don't even have a record player. I had to borrow one to listen to them.
To listen to them.
I just, it's an interview. I'm showing off records. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Yeah.
What do you sample often, or at least in terms of an inspirational source, I guess?
YouTube.
You go on YouTube and sample something. Is it a random stuff that you do? Cool.
100% random. Like, or my wife will give me something to sample. Like yesterday, she gave me a Anita Baker song to sample, and it's kind of whack right now. Like it's not mixed. It's just like super loud and like just drums over sample chops. But like, I just set it up and it was fun. I just had the speakers going. And
how is your way though? Like, how do you start a project?
Listen to the whole track first. Like I just let it play. and then like I'm downloading it, and then I uploaded to FL in Edison, and I go through and I take different chops, and then I move it over to my FPC, which is Fruity Loops version of an MPC. And like I go in and like I got this right here, the MPD. And I already have it mapped out. Shout out to Penn for the template. And then I just go in and just play with the sample chops, and I'll just play with them until I feel like a groove with it. And then like I'll say, I wonder if I should pitch this up or down. And then depending on where I go, I just either leave it the same or pitch it down or up. And then set the BPM from there, and then add the drums, and then maybe mix and add some transitional stuff.
And a bass, I guess.
Sometimes I don't. Like this one, like the track I made yesterday, I didn't add any bass. But like I rarely sample too. Like when I sample, it's just fun. Like I got a project called Black is Beautiful, where I just took samples, and like I tried to keep the sample as close to the original as possible, and like still like add some like differences and variation and like arrangements and stuff like that. But for the most part, I really don't be sample chopping.
You mean you'd rather compose, right? Or what do you mean by not sample chopping?
It depends. Like it all like depends on what happens first. Like I'm not going in with the intention of, I'm only going to play everything out, or like I'm only going to sample. Like yesterday, I just was feeling like I should take a sample and chop it. And I asked wifey to give me a sample, and that was that. Other times, like I've just been either playing on the piano or playing on the bass, and like I'm like, oh, I need to record this, and then a song will come out of it eventually. Like how I make music is very much off of the inspiration. Like it's not something that I go in with a full agenda, so to speak. Like I kind of let myself get inspired from each sound, and I still explore. Like just because I pick a sound and put it on there and play some chords, like it can sound different once I start mixing it and adding, tremolo control, or EQing some of the things out that aren't necessary, or creating a separate bus to Valhalla reverb. Like that's what happened with that guitar track. Like I busted out and I was like, oh, I like this.
Is there some kind of an effect or some kind of technique that you are kind of geeking out on currently in the past couple of weeks?
Well, I'm gonna tell myself. So I just found out that when I'm recording my bass in, that I have a 6-string bass, so I have a low B string. And I used to like have my bass cut off around like the 30 hertz area. But after careful inspection, I just recently realized that my bass can be cut off with like a 36 count around 79.5 hertz. And I was just like, man, every other track that I've had has just been mud, like in the mix for my bass. And I just didn't know. So I've been taking that out. Then another thing I like doing is creating a drum bus and like just having some reverb for the highs. And then I'll even like pan it sometimes, like on the guitar track I put in the Discord. Like I added like some pan to that drum bus, and it sounds interesting.
To the whole drum bus or just the parts of it? To the whole thing.
The whole drum
That's the
bus.
way to go.
I want to ask, so how long have you been making music?
Actively, this obsessive type of I'm making beats every day since late 2017.
It's like you got an interesting chain over there. Like you got the OP, you got the MP, you got a SP. What else do you have like for your chain?
There is a bunch of those Volcas, but they are not really part of the chain. So I don't have outboard gear. I'm not, probably will never go down that lane because I stay in the box most of the time. The only thing that I chain up is if I do something on an OP. Previously, I would send it through MP, and it was all hooked up so that, like, you know, I could load up the file in MP and then use the performance effects of the MP and the SP, which was like, oh yeah, two-handed, even more effects. And nowadays I'm quite lazy, so I just load everything up into the iPad and go crazy there. I figured out how to load 3 racks of effects in AUM. Job done for me. I'm happy.
Yeah, man, I heard that those joints you did with Wulf, man, that extra credit and signs, bro, them mugs. I was like, man, Bear is crazy cool. Like with like how your brain works. I'm just like, I would have never thought to do the stuff that you did. I was just driving yesterday, taking deliveries. I'm like, man, this is slapping.
So, your piece of advice.
I would say, be yourself, be honest with yourself, and nobody's supposed to be an island. We're better together. Don't be afraid of therapy. And your life is your journey. No one knows how it will look, not even you. So being your most honest self is just, I guess, in my opinion, one way to true happiness.
That's dope. Yeah, thank you very much. Matt, thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Mad, inspiring conversation.
All right, man. See you, brother.
Peace out. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Peace, bro. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Cheers.